This is Intimacy Architecture Radio with your host, Christy Ann Bella. Brought to you by Intimacy Architecture, www.intimacyarchitect.com. All right, hello everyone. Welcome. Good evening. This is our second episode of Sexual Inclusion Network. I am Christy Ann Bella. I'm your host. And with me tonight is Amanda Jay. Let's bring Amanda on. She is an astrology expert, and she's going to join us so we can talk about relationships and the stars, star-crossed lovers. Amanda? So, I love, you actually came out recently and did my husband's birth chart, and it was so insightful because, you know, I know, like I said, a little bit, like I know I'm a Pisces, which is a water sign, and he was like all these fire signs, and I was like, man, that makes so much sense about how we like relate to each other. And so in addition to, planets and there's also these elements that play into how our signs relate to each other and like our own personal lives. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. So all of the signs have, like, they're either fire, air, earth, or water. And so then where we have each of the signs, like if I have Saturn in Capricorn, that's where I have Saturn, then it would be an earth sign because Capricorn's an earth element. So then, you kind of like add up, or like some different websites will just give it to you of how many planets you have in earth signs or water signs and air signs. And it can kind of be like basically like a percentage of like, oh, I'm mostly water, or I'm mostly air. And then what that can mean is like so many different things. Like if somebody has a ton of fire in their chart, like they're very like motivated, like they're like they have these ideas, they just like put it into action. Like fire is action.
Right.
Now if we have like a ton of earth in our charts, then we might be like more slowed down and more like focused on the grounding and like the coming up with a plan, and it might take a really long time, and then how that unfolds for each of us can be different. And then air signs, we can be totally like up in the air, like we have all these ideas but not always have like the best sense of like putting them into action. And then water is like this ability to flow and move with the energy, and also it has just like this deep emotional component to it. Like obviously like water as in tears, and like the ability to release things and shift and change and like to feel. So I find that people who have a lot of water in their chart, like they are deep feelers. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are empaths or like highly intuitive. It's just like very, very much feelers.
Right. And so then there's also, it's like mutable, fixed, and is it cardinal? Is that right? Like each.
Yeah.
Right. So, tell me a little bit more about that. Because like I know I'm a Pisces, so I think that's like a mutable water. But like my ex-husband, he was a Scorpio, which I think is fixed water, and I always felt that was one of the reasons why we had this struggle, because like my water was like, let's move and play and flow like a river, and his water was like a stagnant, like no, like we're like frozen, like
so like the cardinal signs they can be like initiators.
Okay.
And then the fixed signs are like they can be stubborn, or like have this set way of like they think it's supposed to be like this, or and then mutable, like you're saying, is like more of this kind of flow and like changeability with things. Mm-hmm. It can be some of that like water energy, especially if you have mutable water, then you're just like, okay, let's see where this goes, and like let's see where this flows.
Right.
I
love that.
It's very interesting.
So if you are watching via Facebook Live, or if you are listening via Blog Talk Radio. This is a call-in show, so this is like old school style, like Dr. Ruth, Dr. Drew. You can actually call in and talk to us. So the number to call is 319-527-6205. So you can call in if you have questions, if you have a story you want to share about love, relationships, astrology, whatever you've got going on. One of the reasons why I was inspired to do a call-in show, besides that I really grew up listening to stuff like that, was that rather than like Facebook Live where like people can see you and you have like profile and stuff, was that this is a way to be anonymous. So you can like anonymously call us and share or ask anything you want. So one more time, I'll give you, the number is 319-527-6205. So give us a call, jump in, join the conversation. We would love to hear from you. Hello, hi. Hello. You are live with us on Sexual Inclusion Network. Would you like to share your name or do you want to stay anonymous?
My name is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Do you have a question or a story you want to share?
My question tonight is about, I've never understood the whole thing about twin flames. So I was wondering if that's real, and then what does that even mean? And is that something that's kind of like in the topic of star-crossed lovers, or that we're talking about tonight? I was just wanting to put that out there and see what you guys thought.
All right. Amanda, do you want to jump on that first? Twin flames?
Sure, yeah. Okay. So my understanding of twin flame, although I am still learning about this, is this, it can kind of be like this otherworldly, or even like kind of like this energy that you've like known each other for other lifetimes, or like past lifetimes. And so you guys come into this lifetime and you have these lessons to learn. And it can be like this magnetic type of connection. People who I've talked to who have experienced this, they say it's like really hard to stop talking to this person, or like they've tried to, leave it behind and it never really works out the way they, want it to. I'm definitely kind of still grasping the concept, although I do have some friends who have had twin flames, or, people who have felt they had a twin flame at the time and then afterwards said they didn't really have one, or that it wasn't necessarily that connection. I think I'm not necessarily sure about it.
Yeah, I would say my experience is sometimes it's like the not so pretty relationship. Like I've often found that like those moments where I felt like twin flame moments ended up being like Amanda was mentioning, like the person that you like try to get away from but you can't. You just kind of keep feeling pulled back to them. So I've always kind of looked at it similar to like a soulmate-ish aspect that like prior to being here in this carnation, like your energies knew each other, and so I feel like twin flames aren't even always necessarily romantic. Like I remember having this like deep twin flame moment with somebody who I met pretty casually, and we went on like one date, but like I looked into their eyes and I totally was like, oh my god, like we've had like other lives together, and like I just felt like we knew so much about each other for people who had just met. But then that was it. Like we had this like beautiful bonding moment, and then kind of went our separate ways. And then there was like somebody I dated on and off through high school that like lingered on into my 20s, and like that person would just come and I'm like, you're like crack, like what is it, like why can I not like I know, but it's just like this same thing of feeling like almost like unfinished karma, like there was still something to resolve there. And so I think there's definitely those moments where you kind of spark, and you even with like best friends where you're just like, oh my god, like we we were like meant to meet, you know, you meet under like really casual circumstances, like somehow you just like align and it's like, oh wow. But I think similar to soulmates, like you don't necessarily maybe have like only one twin flame ever. Like, you know, these people show up and there's like this powerful light that connects you, and like any fire, I mean, you know, talking about, it's like, it's going to burn out likely, you know, at some point, like, the likelihood is it'll, you know, run its course. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think there is like a potent connection we have to certain people for reasons that just seem unexplainable. You're just like it's you. I know it's you. So does that kind of answer your question? Have you had twin flame moments, Stephanie? Like, have you met someone and just been like, oh wow, like maybe you're the one kind of thing? Or?
Well, it's so funny because when you said crack, I remember like in my past, like a long time ago, there was this guy that I was like, when I talked to him, I was like out of my body, like freaking out, and it was just such a powerful connection, and it was definitely like what you're saying, Christiane, about we were like learning through the experience. Like it was definitely something where I was learning a lot of lessons, and the energy was so strong that it was a lot for me to deal with. But then when I passed through it, I feel like I've learned so much, and it was like such an important person in my life. But I didn't understand if like a twin flame is related to astrology. I guess it's kind of all related. Like it's all like it's your purpose and your path and how you're made and how everyone else is made. But I've never understood that, and I feel like I now listen to you guys, I understand what that means a little bit more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate your question and sharing your story. So yeah, thanks for joining us. You have a great night.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye.
And right now, I believe she's moving through Aries. So then, whatever house you have Aries in, she may be influencing that house. And so Black Moon Lilith is this shadow piece of ourselves. It also can illuminate some of our fears. So since she's moving through Aries right now, and Aries is like the sign of the natural leader, this can be where some fears come up regarding like owning our own power as a leader, our own qualities of leadership that we all have within us. Like at this time period, like if anything comes up of these like inner demon voices that are like, no, you can't do that, you're not a good girl, like that's really Black Moon Lilith, and she's testing us to see, you know, are we going to listen to that and sit down, or are we going to be like, no, like this is what I feel is my true purpose, and actually, you know, it's okay to experience this fear or, you know, whatever, this discomfort, but to be able to move through that and empower ourselves in the process.
I love that. I can't believe I've gone this whole time and not known about Black Moon Lilith. And I'm assuming like the Lilith in regards to like the woman like that was predates Eve as far as like being like the first kind of like female entity. Is that sort of what it ties into, or where the name came from, or?
That's a good question that I really need to look into, because some of these, like a lot of the asteroids, they'll be related to like the Roman or Greek gods and goddesses. So yeah, like then the symbolism is related to their story. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that one, because I was just focusing on what she means, and how that relates to the sign.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love
Fridays, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Like, share, and subscribe. Intimacy Architecture. Build a life you love.